What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another player ratings. 3 wins on the bounce for Tottenham Hotspur. I think that's 8 goals in our last 3 games. Not bad for a team that parks the bus and can't attack, isn't it?
It's all right. It's all right. It's not too bad. And Kane with what 8 goals in 7 goals in 8 games since the restart.
Exactly. Paul Mercer.
Not bad for a player who can't score under Jose.
Exactly. So look, things are definitely looking up over the past 3 games. But let's get straight into the player rating. Let's start off with Hugo Lloris, and we gave him a 9. Absolutely sensational, I thought. It all started off with that back heel from Jamie Vardy, and then he made some astonishing saves from Jose Perez and Jamie Vardy again. What did you make out of his performance?
Yeah, as a lot of people have said, since the restart, I think he's been second to none in the league. I really do. I think he's been one of the best, and I think people should start again putting respect on his name, because I think he deserves it 100%. He's one of the best keepers in the league. That save from Jose Perez was absolutely world class, tipping around the post. Other than that, the other saves, I feel they were good, but they weren't weren't anything you didn't expect him to make. But it was assured. He was safe hands, and the volume of saves is what gives him this rating instead of maybe the quality of all of them. But the one from Jose was absolutely phenomenal. So you saw there's pictures of Vardy already celebrating when once Perez has that volley, and he got stopped in his tracks.
Yeah, but he's actually putting in captain's performance, and I think since the leadership and the quality has been called out by Jose Mourinho, I think he's really stepped up. He really has.
I think Jose might suit him a bit more than Poch in terms of under Poch was constantly playing out the back, and we all know that Lloris isn't the strongest with his feet. So I think this role probably suits him a bit more under Jose. Having to play it long a bit more, having more time, not rushing things. So yeah.
All right, let's move on to Serge Aurier. We gave him a 7. I thought from Serge, it was not flawless, but I thought it was a very, very good display. He wasn't given the kind of authority to go forward. He kind of stayed and had a defensive role pretty much for the whole game, and I thought he did that with a lot of good tackles, a lot of blocks, and as well with under the circumstances, flying back from France to visit his family after the tragic news about his brother. So I thought sensational, really.
Yeah, I thought it was a fine display. I thought he was probably better than he was last game. I think Luke Thomas, the left back, he gave him a few problems early doors. He was getting involved a lot, but I thought by and large, Serge Aurier kept him quiet. And yeah, I think he was clearly under instructions not to go forward as much as he has been in previous games. But I think he did a fine job defensively, and we didn't give away too much down his side.
Ben Davies, we gave him a 7 as well. Similar to Serge Aurier, he didn't have an attacking brief. It was just kind of stay back, do your defensive role. He did some really, really important blocks. And in terms of Ben Davies in the last couple of games, I thought it was much, much better from him.
Yeah, and he really is starting to put in those consistent performances. Yeah, really good. I think Mourinho is probably one of Mourinho's favourites. Mourinho probably really likes him for what he gives. And I thought another solid display. I don't remember anything coming down his side, really. I think he had a really good game.
Yeah. Davinson Sanchez, we gave him an 8 as well. I thought it was a very, very good display from Davinson Sanchez. I thought pretty much defended everything that came his way. Some last challenges in there, some blocks in the box. And yeah, I thought just another great display from Davinson. And he's another one that's really growing under Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, and I'll get another one, just like a bit like Hugo. I think it suits him. These tactics probably suit him a bit more than maybe under Pochettino, because when we don't have possession, we're sitting deep and waiting for counterattacks. His quality on the ball isn't under as much scrutiny. All he has to focus on is getting blocks in, getting tackles, getting clearances. He doesn't have to focus on getting long passes or passes into midfield. So, having said that, I remember early in the game pointing out he made a few good passes, but I think he is starting to grow quite well under Jose, and I think his partnership with Toby as well is promising.
So
kept Vardy quiet.
In terms of this Sanchez and Toby partnership, does this mean that we might be saving a bit of money going into the transfer window, not needing a centre back too much?
With
Dyer and Tanganga as well backing up.
Yeah, Dyer, Tanganga in behind him. I think we do want one. I think we will probably want one because just as for competition's sake. But maybe the desperate need for it is lessening. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves after a few good games. Because we have been complaining about Sanchez a bit and Toby in their partnership. But I think Sanchez, his concentration is growing. He's keeping concentrated for 90 minutes. He's not letting stupid things go and like making stupid mistakes. And I think that all comes as well with his purely focuses on defending at the moment, which is suiting him. Under Pochettino, he has to work on the press and getting higher up the pitch and getting getting on the ball and having possession. He doesn't have to do that as much onto Jose right now, anyway. So I think that suits him.
Let's move on to his centre-back pairing, Toby Alderwiereld. We also gave him an 8. We've been singing his praises since he's come back, that calm, assuring presence at the back. And I thought in this game was no different. He dealt with every single thing that I thought came his way. And I thought as well, he made a really, really good block, goal-saving block, actually, from Jamie Vardy. So I thought Toby Alderwiereld, again, sensational.
Yeah, another really good display. Another game where he didn't have too much on the ball. He didn't have, we did, because it wasn't required. But I felt like, again, no surprise, another clean sheet with Toby. And I think he's been nothing short of sensational since he's come back in the team. I really do. I think our defence has just looked so much better. We're not giving away goals and City chances. We seem to be so hard to break down, and he seems to be at the forefront of that. And I think possibly he had something to prove when he came back into the team, because people were saying, "Oh, Dyer and Sanchez, they're looking good." Like Toby, is he past it? Is he not? He's silencing those critics right now, 100%. He's shutting them up because he's putting in the displays of a couple of years ago.
Definitely. And long may it continue, Tobes. Let's move on to Moussa Sissoko. We gave him a 7. Again, lacking quality on the ball, but he didn't give the Leicester players a moment to breathe. Look, every single week is what we say about Toby Alderwiereld, Moussa Sissoko. He covers every blade of grass, quality a bit lacking on the ball, but, he does such a good role for the team.
Yeah, again, I think he was helping out Serge quite a bit on that side with creating a few overloads. But I think it worked out well for him. He was breaking up play. I don't remember. He didn't get forward too much in this game like he usually does. So there were some moments where he was trying to dribble into the centre of midfield and he lost possession really stupidly, and you're thinking, well, what's he doing? But in terms of off the ball, he worked tirelessly as he usually does, and we really needed him. It was a vital role for him to play, because with Tielemans in that centre, and indeed we needed a bit of physicality there, and he added that.
Yeah, definitely. Which moves us on to Harry Winks. We gave him a 7 as well. Worked tirelessly, as tirelessly as Moussa Sissoko, to be honest. Those two in the middle really, really worked so hard to provide that midfield battle for us. I think he did lose the ball a couple of times early on in the game, but I thought he grew into the game, and that ball over the top to Heung Min Son, where Heung Min Son volleyed it, didn't get the goal, but I thought that really did deserve a goal, and it showed what Harry Winks can provide. It really did. Those forward passing, that range of passing to find Heung Min Son over the top was absolutely brilliant.
I thought a few times he was playing forward passes to break the lines, and I was actually really impressed. And he had that ball over the top to Sonny for that chance that was 1-on-1 was absolutely pinpoint, sensational, well timed as well pass. And there is some question marks whether if we sign Højbjerg, what that means for Harry. But I think he's playing quite well at the moment. Oh, sorry, I was going to sneeze. I think he's playing quite well at the moment. I'm quite happy with how he's performing, and whether I think competition's healthy. And if he gets worried about Højbjerg, it just means he has to step up his own game, and I'm hoping he does that.
No,
he seems to be doing that at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think competition for places like that can only be healthy for the squad, let's be honest. But let's move on to Giovani Lo Celso. We gave him a 7 as well. With Gio, it's important to understand that he's still playing through this injury. So he's not playing at 100%. But having said that, he was playing a more advanced role, and I thought he did well. I don't think it was the kind of commanding performances where it's chance creation every second when Eriksen was in that role. But I thought he played a part in the second goal. I thought he tired on quite early in the second half. But before that tiring, I thought he played very well.
Yeah, it's another game where Gio was liking to get stuck in. He was flying into tackles left, right, and centre, and we didn't see too much of him going forward. There was a few moments where he played some nice through balls and he looked nice, but we didn't see too much of him in terms of in attacking positions. Most of his good work was on the defensive side, and I don't think. I think I kind of feel like he's looked better when he has been in a deeper role. I remember I was calling for him to be in a more advanced position. And I still think he could be that, but I think his best performances this season have definitely been in a deeper role. But I think he's doing a good job for the team at the moment, and I think he does give us better balance in terms of off the ball pressing and defending. Unlike someone like Dele Alli, who when he doesn't have the ball, he's not as his defensive side of his game isn't as strong as someone like Lo Celso. So he offers more in that respect. He just needs to develop to be more threatening when he gets to the final third, I think. But I think he has that. He has the ability to be able to do that. So I'm not worried that he won't pick it up. It's just another role he was adapting. He kind of adapted to that centre midfield role because he had a few games where he wasn't great at the beginning, and then he kind of found his feet. But he needs a bit more time in this attacking advanced position, I feel.
Yeah, I think his most preferred role is a bit deeper. I think it suits him a lot better. So I think if we are going to go with the 4-2-3-1 formation, I prefer him a bit deeper and someone else a bit further forward. But having said that, I think he is probably the most suited at the moment to that role in the squad. When you look at Dele Alli not performing week in, week out when he is playing, Ndombele, we all know what's going on with him. So I think actually, when you look at our squad, he's probably the most suited for that number 10 position.
Yeah, I agree with that for the moment. I think he's doing a good job for the squad. I think I agree with that. But I think he can develop. I think given time, I think he can develop into a really good player in that position.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Lucas Moura. We gave him a 9. It's like these Lucas Moura performances week in, week out. Absolutely astonishing, man. Seriously, like from the player he was under Poch or earlier on in Jose Mourinho, it's night and day. It's like someone's flipped the switch in Lucas Moura, and suddenly his end product is there. Suddenly, and he's working tirelessly for the team, winning balls back, which is so important. How he wins those balls back, especially for that. Was it for the first goal? How he won the ball back?
For the second, it was for the third goal, I think.
Well, either way, for the third goal maybe, but he had his hand in all the goals really, except not the first one, but the second two he got the assists for, and end product is really starting to prove from Lucas Moura, and that is exactly what we've been calling out for from him since he's joined us, really.
100%, and I know at the moment he's only lasting an hour, or he's only lasting 17 minutes. But I think we need from him at the moment when he's playing this well for that hour. He, as you say, he's working so hard. I've never seen a winger make so many tackles in my life. It's unbelievable the amount of tackles he's making and winning the ball back off the opposition players. He for the third goal, he won the ball off Luke Thomas with another tackle, setting up Harry Kane for the third. Lovely counter-attacking play. He's so good on the counter. He can just go past players at will. We all know about Lucas Moura. The only problem that we used to have is that once he goes past players, there's nothing at the end of it, or 9 times out of 10 there was nothing at the end of it. But now he's really starting to show that his quality on the ball, his passing range, he's looking more dangerous in and around the final third for sure. And whereas Bergwijn is probably more direct in terms of going to goal, he's Lucas is showing his abilities in terms of assisting, and his through balls, his passings ever since the Arsenal game has been unbelievable. Some of his passes have been just absolutely pinpoint timing. The weight of pass has been fantastic, and it's really
passes,
good.
Everything he's got it all.
Yeah, that pass in the second half was from his own box was unreal to get Harry Kane 1-on-1. The power and precision of that pass was something that De Bruyne would have been proud of. And I think that Lucas is coming on so well the past couple of weeks, and let's just hope that this form really continues and he can be consistent going into next season, because I think this is like a benchmark now for what Lucas needs to do. And it's important to know that we're praising him so much, and he hasn't even scored, I don't think, in the past couple of weeks, has he? Because it just shows what he's doing, what's required, and we're not just looking for him to be scoring all the time. This is what we need him to be doing, and it's so good to see.
Definitely. Let's move on to Heung Min Son. We gave him an 8. his first half was absolutely sensational. I thought. Unlucky not to get that goal for the own goal. He did a lot of great work for it,
Hmm.
but he was put through by Winks from that great overhead pass that we talked about before. He was unlucky not to score the volley. It was a great effort. He put so much effort and desire into that first half, and he was such a menace to that Leicester defence. But second half he was quite anonymous and he tired out, but he did everything he needed to do in that first half.
Yeah, he had that chance in the second half, didn't he? When Kane put him through 1-on-1, but he slipped at the vital moment. So he's the one where gives us the biggest threat in behind for sure. And we've seen that time and time again. He's such a threat in behind, and it's so important. I think when we've especially in the system we're playing in the moment, he's such an important role because he's the only real player who asks questions of the defenders in behind and asks them to kind of turn their heads a bit. Otherwise, we're just playing purely in front of the back four or back three, and it can be easy to defend. So he plays such a vital role, and we saw it with the first goal. He's running behind and a bit of individual skill to get past Bennett caused the first goal. And again, he was such a threat. And second half, I think the whole team kind of sat deep, so it wasn't just him. But I think defensively, again, he's starting to improve his play after that shouting from Lloris.
Yep. Let's move on to Harry Kane, my man, the match. We gave him a 9. This is Harry Kane back to his best, or definitely getting back to his best. The all-action display, which we've spoken about many times, coming deep, winning the ball, setting up chances, scoring goals. That's 4 goals in his last 2 games now. And that goal, that second goal of his, what a finish. That is like Harry Kane, epic Harry Kane, classic Harry Kane. How many goals has he scored like that in his Spurs career,
Yeah, quite a few.
The point is that he hasn't done it for so long, and it's just so good to see him back at it again. You could see the smiles on his face after the game, and you could see him hitting back at the critics as well with that interview after the game. So I'm so happy for Harry Kane, and obviously he just announced he's having another baby, so he's found his home, or his home is still in North London, and it will be definitely for the next 9 months at least. So
you better hope so. I don't think he's going to be leaving this summer, but I think what an unbelievable performance again. All action display. It's so good to see that Harry came back, because when he is on this kind of form, it's just like there's no other striker like it. He can do absolutely everything. It wasn't just the goals he was scoring, which were both 2 absolutely fantastic finishes. The first one as well, first of all, is not as easy as it looks on his left foot, going across the keeper. That is a really accurate finish. A lot of strikers wouldn't have scored that. The second goal, though, absolutely marvellous. Just to curl the whip on that strike, to get it right into the corner. Kasper Schmeichel was a fantastic keeper. We've seen Kane do that thing time and time again, but it was lovely to see. But some of the passes, man. Some of the passes he was playing were just like David Silva would like to do some of those passes. The proper playmaker. That pass to Son in the second half to put him through 1-on-1, absolutely unbelievable. That pass for the first goal outside of the boot to get him through for Son goal and score. Oh, it was just delightful. He's like a playmaker, striker, everything. And not only just that, I think he was also tracking back. He was defending from the front. He was closing down players. He was getting back into position and getting closing down midfielders. He made a few tackles, setting Spurs up.
Defensive headers in our box as well.
Exactly. And for that second goal, it's important to know how far he went for that second goal, steaming forward on the counter-attack, keeping up with the likes of Son and Lucas to get past them. And he's just hungry for goals again. And Harry Kane the past couple of years, you would say, like, he hasn't been bad, but he has been more of a penalty box goal scorer than that all action displays we've been used to in his early part of the Spurs career. But yesterday and against Arsenal as well, it's really good return to form for him. He looks like he's that player again, where he's going to be everywhere, which is where we need him to be. It's so good to see.
Yeah, and don't forget those 2 goals against Newcastle as well. So he's really coming back into it. And let's finish off with the manager, Jose Mourinho. We gave him a 9. Just before we start with Jose, I just want to mention the subs, because Lamela, Bergwijn, Jedson and Skip all came on. But it was nothing really to mention about them, because the game was a non-contest by the time they came on.
They just came on purely for defensive still solidity. I think Lucas and Son or Lo Celso were tiring. They were struggling to kind of get back in position as much. So it was purely defensive. We didn't threaten at all in the second half going forward, especially late on. So yeah, not much to add there. They did their job.
Yeah, but Jose Mourinho, same lineup in 3 games running. When's the last time we've played the same lineup 3 games on the trot? I can't remember it. I just can't remember it because I don't. Did we do it ever under Poch?
Probably we did it a bit maybe in the last season of White Hart Lane, but other than that, it's been a while. I think the squad's been down with injuries and whatnot, and we haven't been able to work out what our best 11 is. But I think at the moment this is what he's got at. I think he's got a blueprint for what he wants to play. I think for the time being, this is our best 11. And I think he's really found. I think the players are really starting to get into his tactics, into the mentality that we need, that Jose requires, and it's lovely to witness.
It's also important to note that even though it's been the same lineup each 3 games, it's been a different style of play, different formation, different tactics for each game. So it's so great to see that Jose Mourinho, he tailor makes his teams. It's not just the lineup, it's the formation and it's the way we play as well. When you look at Serge Aurier and Ben Davies, their briefs over the last couple of games have been completely different in each of those games. And you got to commend Jose Mourinho the way he sets up his teams to win games. Not to play good football, but the football is getting better. But the point is that he's setting up teams to win games, and that is exactly what we're doing at the moment.
And that's the difference between, Pochettino and Mourinho. Pochettino, as Ben Davies said, every game they set up in the same way. We kind of focused on ourselves and we said, this is how we're going to play and you have to beat us. And that did work for a while because we were so fit and we were so energetic and we were so on it early on in the early parts of the Pochettino era, and that we didn't have to adjust ourselves for the opposition. But as time grew on, people grew accustomed to our tactics. And we never really adapted to that. And I think we were always calling for especially games sometimes away from home against bigger teams. Sometimes you have to adapt to the opposition. Sometimes in games you have to become more tactical, and that's where Jose Mourinho comes in. And every game he analyzes the opposition and he picks out their weaknesses and where they're vulnerable, and he attacks those. And he saw that in this game, no Soyuncu, no Chilwell, no Ricardo Pereira. The big point is going to be those back three. They're going to be vulnerable. If we catch them in the transition, Ryan Bennett doesn't like to be dragged out wide. Wes Morgan doesn't like to be dragged into midfield. And that's exactly what happened.
Morgan likes the Premier League anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, he looks very out of it at the moment. But I think Ryan Bennett was their big weakness. And I think we exploited it ruthlessly. And as Jose said, if you don't give Leicester space in behind, you nullify their threat. Because how many goals have they got this season through Vardy over the top and him running through on goal? That's pretty much been their biggest threat. And with no Maddison in the team, they're not going to be able to. If we sit deep against them, they're not going to be able to break the lock because Maddison's that type of player who gets a goal from 25 yards or gets a through ball, and he's not playing. So I think we tailor-made our tactics for this game, and I think it worked to perfection. And I think sometimes it does work the Pochettino way. Just concentrate on yourselves, because if you concentrate too much on the opposition, sometimes it can be your own outdoings. You don't know what you're doing with the ball yourself. But I think now we've had that experience with Pochettino, that'll stand us in good stead for the Mourinho era, in my opinion. Because I think we know what we're doing now when we get the ball, and it's just a matter of just tailor-making our tactics to the opposition.
Yeah, and it's also important to highlight if you didn't watch that game and you were just to look at the stats, you would have thought Leicester probably had the better of the game and were the better team out of the game. I think it was 65 or 70% possession or something, somewhere in between that to Leicester. They had a lot more shots than us, but most of the shots that they had were from about 25, 30 yards out, pop shots. Because they couldn't get past our defence. So that's important to say. And important to say as well with the possession that a lot of teams are kind of overruling us in possession, but they can't do anything with this possession that they've got. They're passing it around, trying to find gaps, which they're not finding, and we're picking them off. And that's evident with the 6 goals we've scored in the last 2 games and the 2 goals we scored before that against Arsenal. So, Gone.
Yeah, how many times, first of all, Spurs, before the Mourinho era, in the early parts of the season, how many times did we have loads of possession and do nothing? You saw in the FA Cup semi-final, I hate to say it, but how much possession did City have against Arsenal? But who was in control of that game? Arsenal were in control of that game. You don't, as Mourinho said, you don't need possession to be in control. And it's not to say that he's always going to do this in every game, because I don't think he will. I think he tailor-makes the tactics for the opposition. I just think this was the best way to go forward in this game. I was looking at the stats actually. You know, when he won the league with Chelsea a few years ago, you know, the average possession that they had throughout the season was 56%. So it's not like every game they were sitting deep and allowing the opposition to have possession. Most of the time they had most possession. It's just some games or a few games you got to give the best way to win the game is to give the opposition the ball and have them leave space in behind, and that's exactly how it proved.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you can be a great team with no possession. Look at the Atletico Madrid. Look at Leicester when they won the league. And I thought our performance yesterday was very similar to the style of play when Leicester won the league. You know, I thought it was, and we kind of put Leicester at their own game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think where this kind of tactic does definitely stand you in good stead is definitely in the latter parts of the season where maybe tensions are high, maybe you're really fighting for big things, and sometimes, you know, nerves can get the better of players. But when you know a certain tactic and how to play and how to defend the basics, it can really stand you in good stead getting the results when you're not necessarily playing that well. And hopefully that's where it can come into fruition for us next season.
All right. Well, as on the contrary to about a month ago, I was not looking forward to next season. Now I am really, really excited. And not only that, you know, there's like some positive news coming out of the camp with Daniel Levy and Jose Mourinho saying we've got our targets that we want to target, and I think we'll get them as well. So I think we've got 6 weeks from the Palace game till the end of the season to sort out our targets for the start of the season.
6 weeks, is it?
6-week break, yeah, and then we go again.
All right, so not that long. Okay, yeah. Let's go. We've had a long break, haven't we? So
yeah, exactly. So
I'm ready to get back into it.
Me too. There you have it. That is the player ratings for the 3-0 win against Leicester. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with our ratings, or if not, let us know your ratings in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.